the evidence is here because People magazine, who has been typically Team Blake, has now turned. Oh man, Blake, you are in so much trouble. So much trouble.
In a world where Taylor Swift's every move is under constant scrutiny, the singer has always managed to keep her personal life just that, personal. But recently, a secret that was meant to stay hidden has come to light, shaking the very foundation of her carefully constructed image. The secret affair between Taylor Swift and actor Justin Baldoni
are so awful, and we were all right. Let's get into it. Before I get to the update, I got to update you, though, for those that don't know. We reported yesterday that Blake Lively's lawyer allegedly threatened Taylor Swift and extorted her to release a public statement in support of Blake, or text messages would be released. They also accused Taylor of Blake of asking Taylor to delete text messages. This was the original letter that was sent.
That they had managed to keep under wraps for years has now become the subject of relentless media attention. What started as a quiet, tender romance blossomed in private. But as with all secrets in the world of celebrities, it didn't stay hidden for long. It all began at a charity event where Taylor and Justin met for the first time. There was an undeniable spark between them. They started spending more time together, often attending charity events, going out for casual dinners, and taking walks through New York, all while doing their best to keep the relationship under wraps. For a while, they were successful at hiding it. Justin, known for his role on Jane the Virgin, and Taylor, a global music icon, seemed to fit together perfectly in the eyes of the public. But little did the world know, their connection went deeper than anyone could imagine. As their relationship grew, so did the pressure to keep it hidden. The media started noticing subtle shifts in their behavior, those tiny gestures that made it clear they were more than just friends. Paparazzi pictures began to surface, blurry images of the two leaving events together, holding hands in dark alleys or sneaking into restaurants under the guise of secrecy. It wasn't long before whispers of their relationship began to circulate. While the couple worked hard to keep the truth at bay, the eyes of the world were upon them, and the rumors started spiraling out of control. It was in those quiet, private moments that Taylor and Justin shared their deepest fears. In one intimate scene, Taylor sat across from Justin in a cafe, her fingers nervously tapping the edge of her cup as he leaned in and whispered, "We have to be careful, Taylor. The world isn't ready for us, but I promise I'll protect you." Taylor, looking down, responded with a deep sigh. "I know, but what if they find out? What will they say about us?" It was in those moments of vulnerability that their love seemed most genuine. Yet despite their best efforts to keep their relationship secret, the pressure of living in the public eye was overwhelming. Every smile, every glance was dissected by the media, and the more they tried to keep their relationship private, the more they became the subject of intense public curiosity. As the rumors grew louder, so did the invasion of privacy. At first, it was just the occasional mention in tabloids, but soon enough, every detail of their relationship was under the microscope. The headlines began to scream about their alleged secret affair, their every move scrutinized, and their photos splashed across magazine covers. Taylor, who had always been careful about her public image, found herself grappling with the weight of the secret being exposed to the world. She watched from the comfort of her home as the interviews, the press conferences, and the tabloid articles poured in. The question was no longer if they were together, but how the world would react to the revelation.
Look, the reality check here is Taylor Swift is no longer friends with Blake Lively. I firmly believe this. And the evidence is here because People magazine, who has been typically Team Blake, has now turned and says their friendship has halted. The singer wants no part in this drama. I mean, who doesn't believe this? If you're a Swiftie, how do you not believe this? Of course she wants no part of drama. She never wants part of, she likes to cause some drama. She does cause her own drama when she feels it's justified, and she shuts down drama with her lawyers and her reps all the time. We're going to get to that in a second, but let's go through what this source says. Insiders shed light on where the friends stand. We know where they stand. They don't stand anywhere near each other anymore. It's halted, a source tells People. The two stars are taking some space, but their friendship isn't completely over yet. I think that's a nice, stop this, Blake, end this lawsuit, and maybe we'll see. But Swift was issued the subpoena, and of course that upset her. The battle against Justin Baldoni continues. Multiple sources tell People exclusively that the actress's relationship with Swift is struggling as the singer faces a subpoena by Baldoni's legal team. I'll tell you right up, it was struggling when she read Blake Lively speaking about her friend in private and using her, labeling her her dragon. That's a pretty hard thing to not see again. Like, whoa, that's what you think of me? I'm here to be your chess piece and you use me to get how you want. Oh, and then by the way, it turns out Justin maybe wasn't as bad as you kept telling me he was. And I'm seeing all this stuff come in and it clearly is more complicated. And now I'm being dragged in to this drama. Imagine being a friend with somebody like you would not want to be involved with that friend. You would look at them differently. Of course, that's what's happening here. So yeah, the friendship has halted. A source says close to Swift. Taylor wants no part.
Revelation. In one of her most emotional moments, Taylor sat alone, watching an interview where a reporter asked, "Taylor, there's been a lot of buzz surrounding your relationship with Justin Baldoni. Can you tell us anything about it?" Her voice faltered as she smiled awkwardly and responded, "Oh, I like to keep things personal. My fans understand that, right?" But behind the smile was a deep discomfort, a sense of being trapped in a situation she hadn't expected. The public, once her loyal supporters, now seemed to be judging her every move. The affair that was meant to be a secret was no longer just about her and Justin. It had become a matter of public discourse, and Taylor found herself ashamed of the exposure. It wasn't just the press that was relentless. Her relationship with Justin had become the focal point of endless media speculation. The tabloids painted the story as if it were a scandal, focusing on every aspect of their private moments and dissecting their every interaction. The truth, however, was that Taylor and Justin's relationship wasn't a scandal at all. It was a quiet love, built on shared moments of connection, understanding, and the need to escape from the pressures of their respective worlds. But now, with the secret exposed, Taylor felt embarrassed, not just by the exposure, but by the idea that her relationship had become a subject of gossip, something that she had always worked hard to protect from the public eye. In one particularly intimate moment, Justin and Taylor sat together on a couch, the weight of the situation heavy in the air. "I never wanted anyone to know," Taylor admitted, tears welling up in her eyes. "Not like this. I wanted to keep it just for us, just for me and you, but now it feels like it's out of control. It's too much." Justin, ever the protector, took her hand in his gaze soft but filled with sorrow. "I didn't want to hurt you," he said gently. "I thought we could get away with it, but the world moves too fast, and now we're caught in the middle. I don't want you to be embarrassed. We didn't ask for this." But despite his reassurances, Taylor couldn't help but feel exposed. She'd always been careful about maintaining a sense of privacy, especially in matters of the heart. Yet now, with the affair out in the open, she felt vulnerable in a way she never had before. She had always known that fame came with its challenges, but this was something she wasn't prepared for. She had hoped to keep this part of her life hidden away, just for herself and Justin. But now she found herself facing a different reality. As the public continued to speculate, Taylor was forced to confront the fact that she could no longer keep the secret hidden. In the interviews and media appearances that followed, Taylor continued to deflect questions about Justin, repeating that she preferred to keep her personal life private. But behind the scenes, the shame lingered. The affair that had been so beautiful, so intimate, had now become something she wished she could undo. The pressure was too great, and the weight of the world's judgment felt too heavy. In a final moment of reflection, Taylor sat in her room, a journal open in front of her. The pen in her hand hovered above the page, but she couldn't find the words to write. The secret, once so precious, now felt like a burden she couldn't carry any longer. The truth, while it had set her free in some ways, also left her feeling exposed, vulnerable, and embarrassed. She realized that sometimes the hardest truths to accept are the ones we try to hide the most. For Taylor, this was a lesson in both love and vulnerability, a reminder that sometimes even the deepest connections are not immune to the scrutiny of the public eye. And while she may have wished for a different outcome, the reality was that secrets, no matter how carefully hidden, have a way of coming to light. As Taylor sat with her journal, staring at the empty page, her mind raced. She thought of the years she'd spent guarding her heart, never fully opening up to anyone for fear of what the world might think. She had always prided herself on being able to maintain control, on crafting her public image carefully. But this secret had slipped through her fingers. She thought back to those early moments with Justin, those quiet nights where they felt like they could escape the noise of the world. It had felt safe, comforting, even though they both knew what they had was fragile, but now everything was different. The love she had cherished in private was no longer hers alone. It was now part of the world's narrative, and the world didn't always understand. The pressure, the invasive questions, it all began to wear on her. As much as she wanted to hold on to the beauty of what they had, she couldn't ignore the toll it was taking. She had spent years building a career that was defined by her strength, her resilience, her control. But now it felt like she was losing everything to the very thing she'd worked so hard to protect, her privacy. As she put the pen down, she knew that the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. But for the first time in a long time, she realized that the strength she was looking for might not come from hiding her truths. It might come from embracing them, no matter how hard it might be. In the end, this experience, this painful exposure, would become part of who she was. And perhaps it would lead to a new kind of strength.